peeling back the layers of the part I've been playing for you. Used to be so easy. Now I get queasy when things start going wrong. And in this life we all know that the starting is the hardest part. Do you believe?
Hello, welcome to the Bully Bean Podcast. It has somehow been 3 weeks since I podcast last and time got away from me. We've been super busy. We got sick twice, and this last weekend we went out of town to visit some friends. It's January. How is it January 2023? Thankfully the sun poked out. I'm trying out a new spot. Normally my desk goes here. I have like a little writing desk in my bedroom, and I've been recording the last few episodes in the main part of our house, but I was trying to do it down here because then I'm hoping to, because when my mom moves in, I'll have to find a way to podcast even when there are other members of the family home and it can be quiet. So ideally it'll be good if I can do it from my bedroom. So I'm trying out this little area. I put up some art, which I have been dying to do. There's just something about putting up art and pulling in plants into an area to make it feel super cozy and homey. And I got these Lori Pemberton prints, and I don't know if you can see this one real good, but I'll try to like include a little picture of it, and they just make me super happy. So today's podcast is just going to be a little bit of a catch up and to share currently what I'm working on, and then to talk about some 2023 knitting plans. Okay, so of course I had my Emerson knit along that I failed as a host. I should have been. I'm not very good at hyping things up, and then I didn't have any pictures shared. I think I'm gonna take my watch off because it keeps like reflecting and making a little light bounce around. I had a few of you on here mention that you were joining, and thank you so much for joining. I hope if you did get your sweaters finished, that's wonderful. If you didn't, I hope you're still enjoying knitting on them. Part of me, I think I might try to, because I wanted to do a knit along because it's really fun to start something that you're excited about and then to have others join you, so you kind of get them like keeping you motivated. So I was thinking, well, should I keep the Emerson knit along, just like extend it? But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to, after I talk today about my knitting plans for the year, pick out something that's maybe a little more broad, so it's not just one select pattern, that maybe multiple patterns could be included on the knit along, and then figure it out a little bit better so I can be more successful at hosting it. I have gotten quite a bit done on mine though, so I'm going to share that. I'm sorry I keep looking at the wrong spot. Usually my camera, anyways, where I look is over here, and I'm supposed to look over there. So try not to look crazy-eyed, you guys. I will be honest, I kind of lost my steam on this sweater because I picked up an old whip and fell in love with it. And also with knitting on, like this, I'm knitting on two sweaters and one cardigan all at once. And I kind of was losing my love for this, but finally, it's like for the size that I'm knitting, I don't know if it's all the sizes, I'd have to look at the pattern, but the length here, I think it's like 10 inches or something till you start the rib. I finally got to that, and then I'm so excited to be on the ribbing and then to pick up the sleeves, because I'm like, all I have left is the sleeves. And I think I felt like 10 inches was going to be a lot longer. It's like I measured it and I was like at 9.5, and I was like, oh, I thought I had a ton more, because look, like right now it looks pretty boxy, right? I was a little nervous, but this is half brioche, and I'm fairly certain, well, for one, I prefer my sweaters a little cropped anyways. I don't, not for my stomach to show, but I just wear high-waisted jeans, or if I'm wearing it with a skirt, my skirts tend to be a little higher, and I like to just to have just enough to kind of tuck the front. And then I don't like things hugging my body, like especially on a sweater. I don't know, I want it to be a little roomy. I didn't even talk about what I'm wearing, but we'll get to that. So I'm excited about how this fits. I have a ready-to-wear sweater, store-bought sweater, that has a similar fit. It's boxy, set-in sleeves, and the measurements are very similar. So I cast on the Emerson. I think this is a size small, pretty sure, because the fit is oversized, and I haven't tried it on, but I'm not really worried. And then all I have left is to pick up the neckline, and it's a double folded over little neckline, and then do the sleeves. And I'm just about, I have like another inch left on the ribbing. I got, because you're for this long doing half brioche, and then I got in my head, because I started on this while we were on the road. And there's one little section where I did like 6 stitches in a row, several back. I could tell I did half brioche. And I thought, oh, that's not gonna bother me. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, hold on. I don't know if you can, but it's just, they're looser looking, and so it looks like they're some little, I don't know, because it's like tight ribbing, loose boop, and then tight ribbing. So I'm going to, I thought I could just tick back those, like just frog the stitches, but it's not really fixing. I did two rows, or 2 rows is this way. What is it this way? Whatever. But it's just not looking quite right. So anyways, that won't be hard to fix. I'll figure it out. I mean, I probably just have to frog a couple rows. I don't mind. I'm not in a rush. And I was, of course, using Wool of the Andes in Mink Heather. I have a ton of yardage still. So I don't know. I mean, this yarn is too scratchy for my kids. Like I was thinking I could make something smaller for them, but I don't, but maybe I can make a vest or something. I don't know. Anyways, my Emerson. And it's really, really nice. I always refer to it as, once you get past the neckline, then all the rest of it is like TV knitting. The half brioche is it's just you repeat 2 rows again and again. It's very easy. It's so squishy, and even though this yarn is a little bit more, I mean, I say scratchy, it is a little more rustic, but it feels really nice. So I'm quite excited. Look how pretty that is. Oh, it's got so much squish. So I've been working, I just picked that back up because I got excited about where I was on it when I realized I was to the end, because my other thing is I think I mentioned in the last podcast that I was going to pick it up and start it. It's out of the Plain and Simple by Pam Allen. It is the Birch sweater. I think I kept calling it the Birch pullover, but Andrea Mowry has one called the Birch pullover, and it gets confusing. But it's the Birch. It looks like this. And I am doing the exact same colors, except I'm not using Quince & Co. I am using Knit Picks again. And this is just their Simply Wool line. I had bought the yarn back when they first it was newer, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's right. And all I had gotten to where the underarm, you put off a few stitches for the underarm, and then I stopped it, and it sat on the needles for a couple of years, and I picked it back up. And so here I got super addicted working on the yoke. Look at that. And I got the neckline done. And I got a whole sleeve done. And it has the same, like these look like kind of like little hearts here. Has the same on the cuff. It's wrinkled because it's been smushed in the bottom of my knitting bag. And then I just picked up the stitches for the arm, and I have just the arm to do. So, and I'm a little nervous. This is the medium, which I guess I can look at the measurements in the book. Because I knew I wanted it oversized, and the style of the sweater itself, it's supposed to be knit longer. I only knit to think it was 12 inches, and I think they had it 15 inches. So I knit the body shorter because I did not want, like, the way they show it in the images, like here. It was pretty long because, again, I typically wear mine where I don't just have them like over, I don't know. I want to tuck it a little bit. So I didn't want it as long as that. But I'm a little nervous. It looks like it in the photo, so I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I think I cast them the correct size. But, like, see how the yoke is, I mean, it's got that, like, where the Tecumseh is similar, where the armpit, I don't know what you call it, but, like, where the sleeve is, instead of being up higher against your body, it's, like, dropped down loose. And this is blocked, and this is a drapier yarn. This is Knit Picks. Well, a lot of these, I still love Knit Picks. They are super affordable. But I just feel like I keep saying only Knit Picks. Anyways, doesn't matter. This is Stroll. I think the white is Stroll on my Tecumseh, and then the color is Capra, because this is an DK. Anyways, it's drapier, and so I feel like the way it fits is just, but, you know, on these kind, you lift up your arms, your stomach's gonna stick out. I'm curious to see how this blocks. I have not blocked the body, but when I tried it on, the sleeve did help with the side that we're in, that the sleeve, because of the weight of it a little bit, like pulls the yoke down. But the other one, it was like, I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say, but I'm curious because I feel like the yoke's gonna be, but this is, so maybe it'll be fine. But it's a different type of yarn, but it's so pretty. I'm so glad I went with the colors that they knit in the sample, and I only have one sleeve to go, so it won't be long. But I keep talking about it, so look at this beauty. I don't know if I've worn it on the podcast yet, but I don't remember if I made any modifications. I feel like I knit the sleeves to pattern. When your arms are down, which you can't really see, it comes right to, like, my wrist bone, right above. And honestly, because this is a sweater, especially because of the color where it goes down on the sleeve, I've noticed when I have a warm sweater on, especially because I'm not really wearing this outside, I'm not doing yard work in this sweater, I like that the sleeve is this length, because when I go to do something, I notice I have, like, some house sweaters, like, that are store-bought, and I end up rolling up the sleeve. Like, it gets in my way when I wash my hands, when I'm doing stuff with the dog or cat. So this is perfect, because as soon as you reach out, it pulls up out of the way, but then when your arm is down, it goes down. So warm, so soft. Probably my favorite thing that I've ever knit. I remember this one took a long time, just because of everything that was going on in life then. But anyways, the Tecumseh. All right, so talking about my mom, because I was mentioning the cardigan I'm knitting for her. Here's the cardigan. I don't think I've done any on it since last podcast, but it's still beautiful. When my mom moves here, she has two dogs. Well, she has her pet currently is an older, he's like Schnauzer, Yorkie, and like a cattle dog mixed. Just a little mutt guy. He's 14. He's lost his hearing. He's got cataracts, and he mostly just sleeps. He's super sweet. He's like medium sized. He still does little tricks. Like, my mom breeds golden doodles, which I've mentioned before. And when she works on them, she'll try to get them to do group sit, and Nacho's like always, like, he's on it and he knows what comes next. Like, he drops to the ground and then he does a spin and he's ready for his treat, even though he can't see or hear. Well, he can see a little bit, but it's just funny. So she's bringing him, but not knowing how much longer he will live, she wanted to, and then this is her last golden doodle litter, because she'll be retiring. She's been doing it for 15, 16 years. And she's keeping one of the puppies. That's what I was trying to say. She's keeping one of the puppies. This is her last litter. She's not going to be having that income anymore, but will no longer have the bills, which will be good. And wanted to keep the golden doodles, and she spent so long breeding golden doodles. And his name is Dickens. I'll just go get him. I'll go get him. I'll be right back. All right. Oh, this is Dickens. He's a little nervous because this is the first time at our house since he'll be living here when my mom moves. She wants to get him acclimated, and so it's his nap time. He was sleeping on a kid's sleeping bag upstairs with his stuffed animal. But I can't remember how old he is. 9 weeks? Maybe 10 weeks? But he's so sweet. He's named after Charles Dickens. And we're hoping and they seem to be, but he and Luke, our dog Luke, who is a standard poodle, bond. And we have a fenced in yard, and it's today, when I dropped my kids off at my mom's, he asked if I would take Dickens so he could come over and get used to being over here for a little bit. So I have him for one night, and we'll see how it goes, and then we'll just keep doing that. He can go back and forth with Luke and get used to it, but he's a good boy. He's a sweet boy, huh? All right, I'll go put him back. I'll be back. I am a little frustrated because I cannot find, my laptop's completely dead and I cannot find the cord for it. But you know how it is, like, you come back from a trip and like you've got laundry set out and suitcases. Like, I already unpacked everybody's stuff. I've got the laundry sorted, laundry going, and what are you? Question, if you could care to share. But when you come back from vacation or a weekend away, are you team immediately unpack and get everything back to normal, or do you leave your stuff for another day? Like, maybe you set aside a certain day of the week, or I guess it also depends on what you, if you work the next day when you get back or not. But we unloaded our car immediately, the entire thing. We got home, I mean, it was after dark, it was like 9 or something, and cleaned it all out. We carried the kids into bed and did that. I did not unpack last night. Just showered and relaxed, but that's like the first thing this morning. I emptied everyone's suitcase, sorted the laundry, put everyone's clean stuff back, but there just still seems to be, I don't know, just like a measure of chaos in most of the house. So that was interesting because I didn't know I was bringing the puppy back today. And so like I brought him in, and then I was like, oh, he's gonna put everything in his mouth. I have to pick up anything that's on the floor. Anyways, I cannot find my charging cord, and my laptop is dead, and my phone is my current camera, so I have nothing to look on my Ravelry. So I paused the video for just a second, and I was trying to think of what it was that my plans. I know I made a bundle of, like, for a capsule wardrobe of items that I think are incredibly classic and timeless, and I was excited to share a few of those. I will share 2 things that are on that list that I have yarn picked out for, that I'm excited to cast on as soon as, I promised myself I wouldn't cast on anything new until I finished one of my current projects. So nearly done with the Birch. I have just the sleeve left, so then I will be casting on the holiday Slipover, which is a vest by Petite Knit, and I mentioned last time that I wanted to cast one on. So I picked out some yarn. It's kind of coming undone, but I've had this in my stash for a while. I got it. It says on here $10.50, but I got it, I remember, at a yarn. It's $10.50 a skein, but I got it at like a 50% off bin in a local yarn store. I think it was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But now I can't remember because I feel like it could also have been oh, it must have been that one, because the only other local yarn store I had been to was, there was one in Bull Shoals when we lived in Bull Shoals, but I don't remember getting this there. So I'm pretty sure it was the yarn store that is in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and it's in this beautiful old house, and they had a half off clearance section of just some random skeins, and I got, let's see, how many of these are there? I don't know, because these are considered bulky, I think. If they're not, then I'm gonna have to figure out something else for, yeah, because it says, like, these are 50 grams, 98 yards, and it recommends a needle size of 11, US needle size 11 or 10, or 8 to 6 millimeter needles. It is I think it's called Chalet. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but it's, hold on, the labels over it. 70% baby alpaca and 30% bamboo viscose. I'm gonna do a swatch and see if this will work for the vest, but I thought it would be really, it'll be obviously be warm. It should be drapey like this one is, and it'll layer nicely over dresses, over button-up shirts, over turtlenecks. Like, oh, I think, like, I'm really excited about it. I also have this yarn in 2 other colors. Oh, I have another skein. Oh, and a ball where I wound it up because I was gonna start, but so I have 5 skeins, which is plenty to do the pullover or the vest, and then I also have it in a blue and in a brown. So anyways, that's for that project. And then I pulled out, and I did a swatch because Casey from Young Folk Knits podcast is having her bougie sweatshirt knit along, and it started on December 28th, and it's running now through the end of March, I believe. And so I was considering, she did say whips are welcome, but that you have to be 50% less, like done, and mine both. So one of my sweaters would have kind of counted, but I felt like I was too close to the 50% mark whenever it started. So I'm not counting those. And I was tempted to cast on a Felix pullover, but I'm unsure. I made a tiny swatch. I have 2 yarn options that I was tempted to do for the Felix pullover. This is Patton's Classic Wool Worsted. I got it in a D-stash, and it's a beautiful marl, very scratchy though, but it's so cute. And I think I went down a needle size based on whatever the Felix pullover or Felix sweater pullover. Because I was swatching, considering this for that. My second choice is this, which is from Hobby Yarns Divina, and it's baby alpaca, polyamide, and merino wool. I have this in 2 colors. I have it in this one, which I can't remember what it's called. I don't see the name on it. Color 8 it says, but anyways, this one you can kind of see like a heathered look to it. This one's my favorite. Even though, I mean, I clearly have a thing about right now, like tan or like browns. Typically I would love this. Like, this is such a rich color, and I think it would look really pretty with my coloring. Or this, I don't know. But I like that this like shows more, like the stitches. I want to do a swatch and see how it turns out. It's one of the ones where it's like a tube that the, you know, yarn is blown through, or the wool, but this one is hard, like it kind of fuzzes out and you can't really see it, which, so I don't want to knit anything with cables or texture that I want to show in this. I don't know if I would in this either, but I don't have anything planned for this one yet. My thought was this would be nice as a Felix pullover because it would be a bougie sweatshirt, you know? And I'm planning on making the Felix something that I could wear. My thought is to wear it over dresses. Because I'm so cold and I want, give me all the wool. Give me all the wool. So I thought it, like, I'm leaning towards this just because of that. This would definitely be more rustic, and this will just be something that I'm thinking of, like, I don't know, but I feel like, I think this is what I'm going to go with. I need to do a swatch, but I have a little concern for the Felix. I'll put a picture here of the Felix pullover. The neckline on it seems to go, and I can't modify a neckline. I know it's probably not that hard, or there's probably some kind of video or something I could do, but I don't want to. I don't want to do it, and you can't make me. I want to follow a pattern. Forever ago, I used to knit baby hats, like tons of them, because I had babies and they were so fast and simple, and I sold baby hats. And so I got so used to the construction of a hat that I could modify, like, if you just gave me any weight of yarn, I didn't need a pattern. I could figure out the stitching. I designed a few hats that need, like, I did some color work on them, not for sale, just like for my own use. And I learned, like, the decrease, I could modify the decrease on a hat to fit the weight of yarn. Like, it made sense to me because that's what I was just doing, consumed with for that moment. Sorry. Anyways, that was my world. I understood it. I cannot do that now. Like, if I were to modify a hat, it's like I no longer was using it. My brain, for whatever reason, the way my brain works, it got rid of it. I do feel like if I keep making sweaters, I'll get to a point where I could just, like, oh, I want this neckline to be, like, this neckline to me is perfect. I love a neckline like this. Basically, my thing that I'm worried about with the Felix is I do not like when like on this, it's not touching my neck. It's not choking me at all. It fits right down below. It's like right on, like my collarbones are right here. I don't know, I just love it. And I'd be fine with it if it was a little bit, like, it could be a little bit more open. That's fine too. But I love this. This is just called a crew neck, right? Like, I love a crew neck. I do not like a boat neck. Like, I had made a weekender. I don't like when a sweater comes too high here and then goes straight over. I don't want to mess with bra straps. I don't want my bra strap to show. I don't have to worry about layering under, because sometimes I layer. Sometimes I don't. If I do layer, I don't necessarily want my shirt, dress, whatever, showing unnecessarily under. I don't know. So for me, like this neckline, or just slightly more like of an open crew, I like a rounded neckline or a slight V. Just, those are my preferences. So on the pictures of the Felix, I feel like it kind of goes out this way. It's not a boat neck, but I feel like it goes too far out this way. And you see she's wearing, which because there's a cardigan version, as a cardigan would be fine because you're wearing, obviously knowing that you're wearing something underneath it. I just want something more like this. So I like that the Felix is a raglan. I do not want the eyelets. I've Wool's, what's her name? Wool hand needles, fiber. I don't remember what her name is. I'll put it on the screen, but she shared on one of her episodes on how to remove the eyelets if you didn't want that. And so I like wrote that down so I could like modify that. But I'm unsure of how to change the neckline. That's fine. There's lots of other sweaters. The Felix is a very classic style, very simple. I might, since I'm not like, I mean, this is beautiful yarn, but I might just make one and just see how it fits and how I like it. Maybe I'll love it. And maybe it was just the picture. Maybe if I make the correct size, it'll be a little bit higher, because I do think like this, since it is kind of, I mean, like this over this is softer, fancier. Not fancy, but I don't know. Like the eyelets might suit this and they wouldn't be as visible. I don't know, like add like a little bit of a bling bling. I don't know. So I'm trying to decide. I also considered just finding like another raglan. I also considered finding another raglan pattern. There's a few, but then it's like then this yarn doesn't work on the patterns I found. So I have some like deciding to do with that. Anyways, if you have a pattern that you know of that's a simple raglan, I mean, it could even, I guess it didn't have to be raglan, because it could be a set. I don't know. I just want something that's basic. I went through all of the pictures, like Casey had put together a list for sweaters that would work great for the her knit along, like recommendations, and I went through all of them, and I feel like I'm being picky because I just have something in my head and none of those fit it. I think it's called the Weekend sweater. I'll put the name and the designer on the screen and a picture of it. I really liked this, but it needed, I think it was smaller weight yarn. And so that's messing me up. Anyways, that's I haven't cast on anything yet. Obviously, I'm undecided on the pattern, but I'm gonna use this for a basic, no frills pullover sweater. And if I can do it, if I can make my decision before March, then I'll join her knit along. Anyways, my other plans for 2023 are simply, I want to add more hats. I want to knit some just basic. I bought so much, like, oh, this is my sock basket. This is my sock yarn. And a lot of this is Knit Picks. And because of Summer Lee and her strong influences of color, I bought things that are outside of my wheelhouse, and I have not cast them on. But I have, speckles, and I've got bright cherry red, because I thought that would be make, beautiful pop of color, and bright yellow, and pinks, and this green, and oh my goodness. But I think I'm going to use all that for socks for my kids, because I don't want those socks on my feet. I don't. The ones, even like store-bought socks, I have some like simple cream and gray and black cashmere socks that I wear with my boots, and those are the ones I grab, because if anything's showing, I don't want, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want cables. I don't think I'm just gonna make, but what I want is the warmth. So I have, this is from No names today. None. There's none in my head. The kinetic knitter. I can't remember her name. I bought this. No, we did a trade and she gave me this beautiful color. I picked it from her. And Fox and Folk sent me some stroll tweed. She was so sweet and she thought of me. She bought it and then changed her mind or something like that. And she asked me if I would use it and I said yes. And she sent me some, this is Lost Lake Heather stroll tweed. So I want to cast on some socks with this. And then I have just some more stroll tweed in gray and blue and black. I don't have to have them all tweedy. And then just some simple gray. And then I keep this little bag of, these I'm supposed to natural dye. I got them to natural dye, but I keep all my little balls so for the toes or like heels on socks. But I'm just gonna knit some basics. And I don't know yet if I'm gonna do, because I struggle with shoes being too tight in the toe box, because I have wide feet, but then I also have bunions, but they're like on the, not on the big toe side, they're on the outside. They're called tailor's bunions, and they, especially in the winter, they bother me. They will, like when it's real cold, it'll hurt back and forth. COVID was wonderful for that fact, that I just didn't have to wear certain types of shoes. Like I don't have to wear heels obviously, but I didn't have anywhere to go to wear heels, and my feet loved it. And then now that we're back at our meetings or out doing things, like I gravitate towards leather shoes anyways, because I bought a stretcher, like a little thing you can put inside the shoe and it stretches the shoe. I got that, but there's still, I don't know, just some, like I want boots, and it's hard to sometimes find boots that are wide enough. So I want to knit chunky socks because they're faster and they're really warm, but then I can't wear them in those types of shoes because I really can't have any, like I have to wear very thin socks, and anything thicker it ends up hurting my foot. That's my, like I don't have specific patterns picked out. Sarah from Simply Sarah Knits, she shared with me that her favorite pattern is, oh my goodness, I can't remember anything. DRK Everyday Socks, I think they're called. I have not made those yet. They're ribbed, and I believe now she has the two. They're like you can do fingering or either DK or worsted, I'm not sure, but she said for fit she just likes those, and I could see why, because with the ribbing. So I might try that and see how I like that, but I love like knitting this. One of my favorite things I ever knit. I could not put this yoke down because of how much I love the color work. I don't really want to knit too much crazy color work on socks because I feel like I'm not proficient enough yet in sizing, like the socks that I made because of my foot being wide. I wear typically a size 8, but I have such a wide toe box area that I was worried about, the sock like stretching or rubbing in that area. But the two socks, I have like 2 pairs that I made that I wear, and they're too big. Like they are, they get stretched out and kind of sag down if I'm not wearing them inside a shoe. Anyways, so I want to knit more socks this year. And then the only other thing that I have picked out as absolutely am knitting this year is the Winter Beach Cardi. Again, I cannot remember if that's even the name. I don't know. I think that I might have ADHD. I know my younger daughter does, and I've been researching a bunch of things for her. And when I'm doing that, like my phone, you know how like phones start suggesting stuff and then showing you things on TikTok, or I don't follow TikTok, on Instagram, or I don't know, other things. And there's just a lot of stuff that I feel very seen. I'm curious about. it's not important. I don't have to have like a official diagnosis. It's not a big deal. Like, I don't think I need medication for it or any big, like, I'm 35, I've made it this far. It's okay. But one of the things is memory. And because I can be in a conversation with someone. Let's give an example. I can be arguing with whomever. I mean, I don't argue with a ton of people, but even in a discussion with one of my kids or talking about something with my husband and we disagree. We'll say that, like, we just disagree. And I can be an emotional person. I will be upset and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. What did I say that upset you? And I can't remember. Like, it was less than 5 minutes since we started the conversation and I can't remember the exact words. I'm only left with the emotion and it is super frustrating. But I mean, I remember how to knit, and if you ask me where anything is in the house, except for our charger cord or the laptop right now, I can tell you where anything is. I'm very mom in that way, but cannot remember lyrics, I lose words, like words especially, just go. And it's happening right now because I don't remember why I even brought this up. Why am I talking about this? Winter's Beach Cardi. I was saying, I can't remember names. Okay, anyways, I want to knit it. I have wanted to for a long time, and some patterns that I wanted to knit for a long time, I'm fine that I didn't because I've changed my mind. It's no longer something that I would wear, or I'm trying to pick out pieces that I could wear multiple ways or that I will have in my wardrobe a long time. I'm doing really good. I'm not someone that just because everyone else is knitting it, I don't feel the pull to. Like, a lot of times when they do the Andrea Mowry, like, she comes out with one of her new sweaters and then they a lot of times do knit alongs for them, which is great because it's promoting it and it helps her. And she's a wonderful designer. Her patterns are beautiful. But a lot of them they're not something I would typically wear. Like, I think of it and I think of what do I have in my wardrobe that would go with? Not very much. Do I even like the fit, the style? It's not. I have I'm very, what's the word? Comfortable or sure in what I want for my wardrobe, things that I'm going to pick out every day, or not every day, but like, you know, get lots of use out of. And her Winter Beach Cardi is one of those things. So I do have a yarn picked out. Let me see. I think it's, I'm tempted. I don't know if I want it in green because it is kind of a, I think I should though. I think I should. I got this also in a D-stash, and it is Quince & Co. Phoebe, which is extra fine American Merino. It's going to be so squishy. The color is earth, and I have a ton of yardage. Like, it's a full big sweaters quantity of Quince & Co. Phoebe. There is some like color saturation differences in the yarn. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like this area here is much darker. And then there's some like, I don't know. So it's almost like it's tonal, but I don't know that that's on purpose. I don't know if the yarn, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I think that the cables will help hide that, and then I might just have to like do the thing where you I'm trying to think. You take 2 skeins of yarn and you knit a row at a time, like you go back and forth with them. I might do that, but I have a bunch. Like, so I'm gonna knit up a swatch and see how it goes. And I think, like, thinking of a big cabled green sweater, I think it'll look nice. I think it should be good. But that is my only for sure. I have more things that I had picked out to talk about, but I think I rambled quite a bit because I'm looking at the time on my phone and how long it says. I know quite a bit of this is going to be edited out because I had some weird moments, but the Winter's cardigan, the Winter's beach cardigan, the holiday pullover, and either the Felix or the some kind of raglan basic sweater for the bougie sweatshirt knit along in this color. Those are my next 3 cast-ons, and I am quite excited about it. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I didn't even say where I'm coming from, so if you are new, if you made it this far, I'm here in the Ozarks of Arkansas. I am married. I have 3 children, ages 10, 8, and almost 7, and I am a knitter, and I make bags, and I occasionally podcast. All right, well, thank you for being here. Enjoy the next week or so. Hopefully get myself together and get myself a good podcasting schedule so I can come to you more regularly. And thank you for being here. All right, bye guys.
What do you think? Do you have a little friend? Do you? Good boy. There he is. Yeah. Yes, he did.